Good morning. Welcome everyone here and everyone joining us online today. We're so glad you're here. I'm Dave Labrie and I'm a member of this church. We are a people created, beloved community here at First Unitarian in New Bedford. We believe in practicing and promoting the UU values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity in our congregation, and that those values always spring from the love at the center that guides us all. We are a people of purpose in this church. We work to make sure everyone feels welcome in this meeting house, and that if what you hear today resonates with you, we hope you'll consider joining and becoming a part of this way cool community of seekers and keepers of this long dream. The First Unitarian in New Bedford recognizes the land we inhabit and enjoy sits on the unceded ancestral land of the Wampanoag. We give respect to the people of the First Light and their ancestors and honor them in our church. Some housekeeping items for today. If you are new here, there are blue cards in front of you in the pews. Feel free to fill those out if you'd like to be added to our mailing list or any other information about the church. After service, we will have a coffee hour downstairs in the meeting house. Please join us for that. We are live streaming, and so if you're with us on YouTube right now, please like and subscribe. And if you could please put your phones in silent mode so we may all enjoy worship together. In addition, today there will not be music during the offertory or for the postlude. So when we are done with the closing words, you are free to enjoy the coffee without sitting. We do have a special guest here today for us to provide our sermon, and that is Valerie White, who is a 30-year member of the Unitarian Church of Sharon, Massachusetts. Valerie has served as its president 4 times. She has also participated on the boards of numerous UU organizations, including Ferry Beach, Interweave, UUs for Jewish Awareness, UUs for Polyamory Awareness, the Ballou Channing District, and the Church of the Larger Fellowship. Valerie has attended 21 General Assemblies. She is admitted to practice law in Vermont. So if you would all like to join me for a moment of movement, if you could all stand, we're going to get some stretching in, get ourselves feel comfortable and loose. Whatever works for you. I have not found one that works for me as great as what Karen does. So, And for today's chalice lighting, Annika and Yasmin. As we kindle this flame, may it spark in each of us connection and commitment to this living tradition and to each other. Those words were by Cynthia Landrum. And here's Valerie for our opening words.
Good morning. I'm absolutely delighted to be here and to meet you all and to enjoy your beautiful sanctuary. Our opening words this morning are by Lindsay Bates. Come, let us worship together. Let us open our minds to the challenge of reason, open our hearts to the healing of love, open our lives to the calling of conscience, open our souls to the comfort of joy. Astonished by the miracle of life, grateful for the gift of fellowship, confident in the power of living faith, we are here gathered. Come, let us worship together. I'm wearing a couple of hats this morning. I'm going to be playing the hymns. So while I make my way down to the piano, I'll get my exercise going up and down the stairs. Please rise in body or in spirit and prepare to sing hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Rejoice and come in. Enter, rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Now, if you will stay standing as we first greet each other, say hello to someone next to you. And now, if you'll remain standing, please join me in reciting our covenant, which is printed in your order of service. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote kindness and justice in the world. And now, Yasmin has our story for all ages.
Good morning, everyone, on this wonderful Indigenous Peoples holiday. I'm so happy that you're here because I know what it's like to want to stay home on a Sunday. Our theme this month is compassion. So I'm going to talk to you about this way cool woman named Dorothea Dix, because she not only speaks about compassion, she acts upon it. So she is our UU ancestor. And she's actually born in Maine, but she moved to Massachusetts. So let's get into her story. So Dorothea grew up in a home. Her mom had a lot of headaches. Her dad was an alcoholic. And mental health was a situation. So they packed her up and sent her to her wealthy auntie who lived somewhere in Massachusetts. I forget where. However, she learned to read during a time when, women weren't like, just like, oh yeah, here, go get yourself an education. So she took it upon herself to become very, very intelligent. And what she did was she came up with a couple of things. Because she was compassionate, she said, wait a minute, I notice things aren't as great as they can be. So she decided to visit every single prison in the state of Massachusetts and decided to write letters and do everything in her power to get legislation changed, because she said, people who suffer still demand dignity. So Dorothea went on a mission. Not only did she change laws and help mental institutions become a little more sane, she also participated during the time of the Civil War as the leader of the nurses. According to the Secretary of War, very interesting that I noted that being in our communication and politics, she decided to gear up all the nurses and help them be these loving, compassionate people. So Dorothea Dix also writes this book called Conversations of Common Things, Guide to Knowledge for the Use of Schools and Families, written by a teacher. And I thought, oh, I'm going to come in early because I bet you we have that book somewhere here in our historical collection. But I ran out of time. But Dorothea Dix is just one of these people that you need to know about in our faith, because she is our ancestor. And she's all about that compassion, and that's what we're talking about today. So she goes to a Unitarian church. This is the connection. And Dr. William Ellery Channing is preaching, and she's like, oh my gosh, I finally found my people. The sermons are not what I have been getting from all these other institutions, and I feel at home. And that's when she decided to make it her mission. So this is what she believed. People should be treated kindly even if they think or act differently, and everyone deserves dignity no matter what they're going through. This isn't right. We can do better. That was her motto. So while we're all talking about compassion, and especially the children, when we see our friends maybe eating alone, it's one thing to feel compassion, but it's another thing to act upon it. And so that is what we're here to do. That's why we're gathered here as people. So let's take that theme of cultivating compassion and let's go out there and do what it takes. I know some people are marching and doing the Palestinian protests. I know some people are getting ready for the King's March. Whatever it is, let's do it. It's one thing to talk about it and feel it, but it's another thing to act. Because and I hope the rest of our people here will say, what did you do for my children's children's children? And I'm going to say, this is what I did. So I hope that you feel inspired to go out, and whether it's the smallest little thing you can do, collectively, our compassion will be flowing through the city of New Bedford and all the world. So Sunday school children, we're off. So in our order of service, may words I say be kind and true. May love be a guide in all we do. May kindness stay within our hearts, and peace be with us all over our heart. Go Dorothea.
And now for our candles of joy and concern. If anyone would like to come forward and share something that is lifting them up or bringing you down, we will light a candle for each joy or concern, as is our custom.
So, thanks, David. Deb and I are going to be restarting game night. Can everyone hear me? Yes. At the bottom of the announcements page, you'll see a little announcement about it. Very simply, if anyone didn't make it last time, we play board games or card games, just normal games. You can bring a snack if you want. You don't have to. It's going to be at 6 p.m. the first Friday of every month. So next November, it's going to start. Okay?
Hi. I've already had people ask me what the eye patch is for. Well, I got a LASIK surgery. Last year, I got LASIK in both eyes, but this entire year, this eye's actually been just a bit off. So I finally got that corrected. It'll take a couple of weeks, but honestly, since it's October, it's Halloween, it's the perfect timing for me to bust out my pirate costume.
My candle's in remembrance of a wonderful person, my sister-in-law, Maureen Fitzgerald Morgan, who lost her battle with cancer 1 week ago today.
Hello everyone. Today morning, Kwang and I, we ran a 5K, and this is my third 5K hat trick. I'm so happy about it. Thank you.
And if there is no one else who would like to speak, as is our tradition, we will light 2 additional candles, one for those joys that we hold in our hearts, and one for those concerns we are not ready to share.
My reading this morning is by a rabbi whose name is Jonathan Zasloff. And sometimes a little miracle occurs. In 1899, my great-grandmother, Blima Jonas, got on a boat and came to Ellis Island. She carried many things, including a baby, my great-uncle Abel. But one of her prized possessions was a pair of beautiful brass Shabbat candlesticks. She gave them to her eldest daughter, Rose, who gave them to her eldest daughter, Phyllis, who gave them to her younger son, me. David got the record collection. Every Friday night when I was growing up, we lit candles in these candlesticks. David and I would polish them before the Sabbath meal. After my mom's death, I took them back to my house, and every Friday night, I lit Shabbat candles with them and taught the prayers to my wife and daughter. And then, in the rush to get out in the Palisades fire, I forgot them. This was by far the worst personal property loss for me from the fire. Somehow, the lawyer in me remembered to take documents, but the rabbi in me forgot to take the Shabbat candlesticks. I thought they were gone forever. Can brass candlesticks survive a fire? The melting point of brass is 1,700 degrees Fahrenheit. But then I learned about Samaritan's Purse, an evangelical group that helps disaster victims search for lost objects. I got in the queue, and they came over at 1 p.m. today. They started at 1 p.m. I told them that really what I was looking for was the candlesticks. Nothing else really mattered. I wasn't sure where I had left them. The fire was on a Monday, but I think I lit them on Friday night, but had not moved them from the living room. So maybe they were in this part of the rubble. They got to work. During breaks, they asked me about being a rabbi. We spent a good bit of time talking about the Bible. I loved it. They mentioned that they were part of Billy Graham Ministries. Much to my amazement, I resisted the temptation to tell them what I think of Franklin Graham, Billy's son and the current head of the organization. They are wonderful, kind people. And then, about an hour in, there they are, under a huge pile of ash and rubble and twisted metal. And there they were, covered in ash and dirt, a far cry from the gleaming brass that they are when polished. But they were there. "You did it," I exclaimed. "Well," said one of them, "God did it." But God has no hands but ours. And several pairs of hands found them. Gratitude. The words of Jonathan Zasloff. And now, while I make my way to the piano, please rise in body or in spirit, and let's sing hymn number 346, "Come Sing a Song with Me."
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and roses in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and roses in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
And turned around and I apologize. for our second reading, I believe? No? Not a second reading today. Okay, I apologize. For our offertory today, now is the time in our service when we ask you for your kind donations toward the many good works of this church. Thank you all for your generous giving.
In June, I turned 80 years old. While my doctor says that there's no reason I shouldn't live to be 100, not surprisingly, I've been thinking about end-of-life things. Like, do I want a memorial service? No. What kind of medical interventions do I want or not want when I get to a terminal illness? And most relevant to this sermon, what do I want done with my stuff? And boy, that's a problem. Like the rabbi in the reading I shared earlier, I have some things which are very precious to me, not because of their intrinsic value, but because of who they came from and what they've meant to me. The problem is, I don't think they would be equally precious to anyone I might consider leaving them to. I have 2 daughters, born in the 1970s, and 23-year-old twins, Jocelyn and Perry, whom I've helped raise, but are genetically my grandchildren, and 5 other grandchildren, 4 boys and a girl. These are all my logical heirs, besides my partners, Ken and Judy, with whom I've shared a home for almost 30 years. So let's take inventory. I own 2 cameo brooches, one from each of my grandmothers. The one from my paternal grandmother was given to her by my grandfather on his return from the war in the Philippines, probably around 1902, and shows, I think, Mount Pinatuba. I gather a cameo, which is not a portrait, is rather unusual. The one from my mother's mother is more conventionally a woman's profile. I wore both of them when I went to vote in 2016 for the person I was then sure would be our first woman president. Aside, it's hard to believe that when my mother was born, women couldn't vote. I seldom these days dress up enough to wear those brooches. Mostly if I wear a pin, it's a flaming chalice or an infinity heart for polyamory. I don't see my daughters pinning the brooches on their t-shirts. I have a pin which came from my great-great-grandmother on my mother's side and is visible as in a picture of her from the 19th century. I have a ring, which was my paternal grandmother's, and I've always liked it. It's a pearl with small amethysts around it. Not much chance my grandsons are going to fight over who gets to give it as an engagement ring to a fiancé someday. It seems unlikely that the whole idea of kneeling proposals and weddings is going to persist much longer. I can't wear it anymore because of my arthritic knuckles. Again, none of these items are intrinsically valuable. I have photo albums of pictures, like the one I mentioned before, pictures of my parents' wedding and me and my brother as babies, of my horses in Vermont, and of my daughters as babies, and me holding my grandkids as babies. But nobody wants hard copy pictures nowadays. All the pictures of Perry and Jocelyn are digital. I have furniture, which came from both sets of grandparents' homes, a mahogany wall mirror and matching chest of drawers from one, and a blonde oak dresser from another, and a rocking chair. You get the picture. It doesn't seem to me as though either of my daughters is sentimental enough to want any of this furniture, especially when they'd have to move it to Yakima, Washington, or Asheville, North Carolina, and fit it into their existing, already furnished homes. And then there's my piano. If there were a fire at my house, the piano is the object I'd most want to try to remove, but I don't really see myself rolling it down the steps from the front door while the flames roar. Let me tell you about this piano. It's an upright, very heavy. My mother's mother bought it, special ordered it, from the Packard Piano Company in northern Indiana in 1915. It's mahogany and lacks the carved flowers and vines and curly-McHughs most pianos of its vintage would have, because she liked things plain. It has ivory and ebony keys. My grandmother played it to accompany my mother and my aunt when they studied the violin and viola, respectively, as children. When I was 5, we lived briefly with that grandmother, and I remember my mother playing on it the music for me to practice my tap dance solo at my first dance recital. My Put Another Nickel in the Nickelodeon was the song. The piano was in my grandmother's living room, and the adjacent uncarpeted wood-floored hallway was perfect for practicing my tap dancing. My mother learned to play on that piano. I learned to play on it. Jocelyn learned to play on it. My mother had it in her home when she moved to live her last years with me in Vermont, and it came with her. And I brought it along when I moved to Massachusetts. I play it almost every day. I practice my choir music on it and play the songs of my young adulthood, the Beatles. My grandson and I play four-hand duets on it. The piano tuner I used when I first moved to Sharon would rave about it. "What a tone it has! It sounds like a grand," he would say. Then he would say, "Do you want me to tune it to a 440 concert pitch, 440A? I might break a string." And I would say, "Gene, you say that every time, and you haven't yet." "Yes, I want it at 440, otherwise I won't be able to play with anybody." Incidentally, the piano wasn't built for a 440. Written on the inside, it says 435. Jean has since retired, and the woman who tunes it now hasn't broken a string either. By the way, she has a fish on her business card and on her truck because, she says, she's a piano tuner. She came this week to tune it, but not in her truck. She rode her motorcycle. In June of 2015, I turned 70, and the piano reached its centennial. I had my tuner recondition it. She took the insides home to her workshop, plumped up the felt on the hammers, and I don't know what all else. She brought the innards back, took the shell of the piano outdoors in the driveway with the help of her husband and daughter, vacuumed it all out, reinstalled the innards, and brought it back in the house. Yes, up the front steps. And then I threw a party for both of us, me and the piano. My musician friends played it at the party. Oh, and I have a matching mahogany music cabinet and a lot of my grandmother's sheet music. You can maybe begin to understand how much I love this instrument. But who else is going to love it? Does one of my daughters want to have it transported to Washington State or North Carolina? Both households already have either a piano or a keyboard. Neither of my daughters ever knew my grandmother. When I'm gone, nobody else in the household will play it. Jocelyn's not going to take it on tour when she tours with the Flynn Creek Circus in California. She does aerials and partner acro. Perry's not a musician. Probably nobody in my home congregation in Sharon wants it, or anybody else in the town of Sharon. Upright pianos go begging all the time on Free Cycle and Sharon Shares, a Facebook group. Most people who are looking for a piano for a kid who's taking lessons want a keyboard or a Yamaha electronic piano. When my housemates die or move into assisted living, the piano will end up in the landfill. This near certainty is a grief to me. In my closet, I have some clothes that belong to my mother. Will anybody know which things were hers? Even if they did, would they care? I have a slide rule that belonged to my father, an accountant. Nobody knows how to use those now. And a brass microscope circa 1898, which my parents found in someone's trash and had restored and gifted to my late brother when he started medical school. Speaking of my brother, I have a quilted flaming chalice wall hanging he left me. And I'm still using the Samsung phone and tablet that came from him. One day I'll have to replace the phone, but somehow I'm not so attached to that. Some things which are precious to me did not come from relatives. Would anyone want the fleece robe my friend made me with pictures from where the wild things are on it? She said it was because I was a wild thing. I have a flaming chalice necklace that I bought one year at the church yard sale, and I'm especially fond of it because I know who donated it. Now, this next part might initially seem off topic, but I think you will see the connection. When Spirit of Life became a UU hymnal hit, I didn't like it very much. It ends on the wrong note, and the words don't make any sense. You can't have both roots and wings. But at one of my General Assemblies, I was waiting with a bunch of other banner carriers for our cue to carry our banners into the convention hall when someone among us collapsed. They called 911, and while we were waiting for the EMTs to come and help the person who was afflicted, someone in that room started singing Spirit of Life very softly. and we all joined in. And I have loved that hymn ever since. Another song connection. Jack Mendelson, who was minister for many years in Second Church Chicago and also in your similarly named church in Bedford, Massachusetts, also served the UUA at 25 Beacon in a role. And he was given an award at one of the General Assemblies that I attended for his service to Unitarian Universalism. And when he gave his acceptance speech, he said, among other things, at Passover, we say, Dayenu, it would have been enough. And then he went on, he said, if it had only been for my ministry in Chicago, Dayenu, it would have been enough. If it had only been for my ministry in Bedford, Dayenu, it would have been enough. If it had only been for my years at the UUA, Dayenu, it would have been enough. And someone in the convention hall started to sing, Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. 4,000 Unitarian Universalists all sang along with Dayenu, and I'll never forget it. But getting back to physical stuff, of course, the main reason I'm so attached to many of these things is because they once belonged to someone I loved and someone whose love for me I trusted. That's especially true for my mother and brother. But you know what? My sentimental attachment to this stuff is not important. What I really want to pass on to my children and grandchildren are my values and my love. I want them to remember that I loved them and that I showed them I loved them. And I think they will. I believe they will remember me and my love. At the Savers near me, I bought a sort of gizmo, a little plaque that says, coolest grandma ever. I wish I could say that my grandkids had bought it for me, but I bought it for myself and keep it in my bedroom as a reminder to strive to be worthy of it. And it can go unlamented back to the thrift shop when I'm gone. I seem to have left my next piece of work on my bench. Please, let's join our hearts and minds in a few moments of prayer and meditation. Universal Spirit of life, God of many names, source of all being in which we live and breathe and have our being, we come together in prayer, even though many of us struggle with what that means. We come together before that which is greater than us, although we struggle to say what that is. And so on this day, we pray for these things we struggle with, for the conflicts we feel within ourselves and between us and those we love. We pray for guidance, compassion, for the opening of a path. We pray for those things that give us joy and hope, for those things that we trust in, believe in, will sacrifice for. These are gifts of grace, and perhaps we need not define them in order to savor them, rejoice in them, be thankful for them. What we do know is that we gather this morning with all kinds of needs. Some are facing serious physical problems and are in need of healing. Others need healing of a different kind, emotional and spiritual. Some are facing family problems. Some are weary with the struggles of life and seek assurance that this will someday pass. Others face financial difficulties and the specter of making difficult decisions for themselves and their families. For each of us, we speak the deepest prayers of our hearts in different ways, knowing that what it means for them to be answered will look and feel different for each of us. May we somehow this morning be met at the point of our differences and also in the places that we are one, of the same breath of life that courses through all living things. May we always hold in our hearts gratitude for those things that bless us with their presence, forgiveness for the ways we have turned from these blessings, and willingness to open ourselves anew to this beautiful and hurting world. In the name of truth, compassion, and justice, this we pray. Amen, and blessed be. And now, while I go to the piano, please rise in body or spirit and sing hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us. As we come to the end of the service, may you depart from our time together buoyed by the Spirit of life, delighted by the warmth of our gathering, and renewed in soul and mind. May the light of the chalice be carried in your heart until you are together again. Go in peace.